Because when you enter puberty, the hypothalamus gets a signal. Woohoo! Hormones are here. And the hypothalamus starts to release a peptide called kisspeptin. And kisspeptin changes several things in the brain. The first thing it changes, it goes right to the pineal gland and says, you're not going to work well for 10 years. And in general, the adolescent brain is designed neurobiologically not to fall asleep until about 11 p.m., midnight, or 1. And then they need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And even if you try to train that brain to go to bed earlier, a very high percentage of adolescents can't. And if you try to get them to go to bed earlier, they will toss and turn, and they will even make it worse because they get frustrated because they can't fall asleep. Isn't this fun? And so I didn't explain this as well to them. Maybe you can help me. I was trying to explain to them why sleeping as late as possible as an adolescent is important, because when you first go to sleep, cycled through for about 4 hours, not exactly in a chunk, but there are 2 4-hour periods that happen cycled through. One is what we call repair and maintenance. For about 4 hours during sleep, the whole system reboots, takes care of toxins, blah, 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 okay? So the whole maintenance crew comes out. That's why if you don't get enough sleep, you get sick. If you perennially don't get enough sleep, you will get a degrading illness like cancer. Then for about 4 hours, cycled through, is what we call near-death experience. Everything has to get as low functioning as possible so that it can function the next day. Your heart slows down, your breathing slows down. That's why you get cold hands and feet when you sleep sometimes, because the heart isn't pumping out to the extremities. So you need adults need about 6 to 8 hours of that. Adolescents need about 8 hours of that. And then if they get enough, then the brain goes into the brain growth mode. And more importantly, and teachers need to understand this, and they do, in the morning hours, if those 2 life-threatening things were taken care of, in the morning hours, the brain replays everything it learned the day before, and it learns it better. It's called consolidation, and it's the icing on the learning cake, because so much is coming at the brain during the day, it can't process as deeply as it needs to and hold on to what hit it unless it replays it again. And so it replays it in those early morning minutes. So if you set the alarm early to study for a test, you're doing just the opposite of what you want to do. You're now interfering with the brain replaying what it learned the night before. And so I said to girls, if you want to study for a test, don't set the alarm early. And I didn't have time to tell them what to do. So here's the trick. If you want your brain to study for a test, you can make it study, you can make it, I don't know what the word is, work on what you want it to think about while you're asleep. So here's what you do. An hour before you go to bed, what you want your brain to think about and try to remember, you look at and study. And then about 30 minutes before you go to bed, stop and do something boring. It's called primacy and recency. What happens most recent gets played all night in your brain. And you'll actually wake up knowing it more. So you can make your brain work during the night. It's really, really kind of neat. And so that can cut down on the kind of studying time. And you get much more bang for the buck if you're getting ready for a test if you use that before bed technique instead of waking up in the morning, because the morning time is when all that consolidation is happening. Isn't this neat stuff that we're learning about how the brain works? So the long and the short of it is, anybody in the brain field or child development field will tell you more than any other single factor, sleep has the most to do with short-term and long-term brain health and functioning. And then exercise is the 4th one.